difficile que nous avons eu. Parce que en venant pour la compétition, nous disions toujours que qui peut le plus peut le moins. Ça veut dire que si nous on se prépare pour the family area, and when they come to school, we must be sure that before entering the school area, they are also safe.
Parents have been invited to collaborate with school administrations at the secondary and basic education levels, especially in places where students and pupils shall have to be separated in morning and afternoon shifts. At the higher education level, officials are using the situation to accelerate the putting in place of digital alternatives.
The head of state has constructed 10 centers of development of digital higher education for our higher education system. That construction will allow the state universities and the interstate university to be ready.
Prime Minister Joseph John Guti has instructed ministers of the education sector to educate the public on the measures which have been put in place.
The Ministers of Secondary Education and Public Health have pledged their commitment to minimize the upsurge of the coronavirus and other diseases in the upcoming academic year. This was during a workshop on the update and standardization of school health activities against a backdrop of a pandemic, chaired by Public Health Minister Manauda Malashi and Secondary Education Minister Nalova Lyonga today in Yaoundé. Victor Siga reports.
Schools in Cameroon will be resuming on October 5, and COVID-19 remains a threat. This workshop, jointly organized by Public Health Minister and Secondary School Boss, is to keep their commitment to contain the spread of the pandemic and other disease in the secondary school milieu.
This pandemic is so connected to health. If a child is not healthy, a child cannot learn. If the teacher is not healthy, the teacher cannot teach. This workshop shows the link between education and the doctors.
In this regard, a nutrition education manual in both official languages on good cooking and feeding habits was presented by health experts.
This guide was developed based on our locally available foods, not incurring excess cost, to make sure that children know how to eat in order to prevent those diseases.
The two-day workshop is aimed at ensuring a COVID-19 free back to school.
The greatest challenge witnessed so far in the far north region is a problem of insecurity, especially with the Boko Haram upsurge. But government has intensified efforts to ensure that back to school this 2020 is very, very effective. Let's get details from Crtv Marwa in the far north region.
Boko Haram atrocities in Mayo Sava, Logon and Shari and Mayo Chanaga divisions since 2014 have caused the shutdown of some 68 nursery and primary schools in these three divisions of the Far North region. In order to attenuate the impact on the education of children in the restive zones and to relaunch the sector, the Cameroon government ratified the Safe School Declaration in 2018. On the eve of a new school year, education stakeholders alongside officials of the child-centered non-governmental organization, Plan International Cameroon, have been meeting in Mokolo, chief town of Mayo Chanaga division, to address this issue.
The perspective of this workshop is giving some guideline so that the school environment should be safe.
Exposés by experts and brainstorming enabled school officials, defense and security forces and parents to be enlightened on the implementation of the Safe School Declaration. Local administrative officials have lauded the initiative geared towards facilitating thousands of children resume classes in a safe environment.
Thank you very much, Ayuk John Ashu. Parents are gradually intensifying preparations ahead of the new school year, though the affluence is still timid in the town of Douala, that is in the littoral region. Larry's Nani reporter from CRTV Littoral cited some shops where school items are sold and reports that the laxity of parents is blamed on the fact that they doubt if schools will effectively resume come October 5. So tell us, Nani Lalis reporter.
A It's barely 10 days to the start of the 2020-2021 school year, and the presence of parents in joints known for the sales of school items remains timid. Some who have gotten admission for their children are out buying school manuals like books.
I'm almost ready. I've bought things like the uniform, shoes, and some textbooks.
We are here in the market buying shoe, preparing for school resumption.
According to Mr. Jeff, a book vendor, parents make turns at their book stands to ask for prices. At the end of the day, he finds himself with sales as small as 5,000 francs CFA.
At this time, when school was reopening in September, in August, towards August end, it can sell at least from 50,000 to 100,000, but now there is just nothing to show.
This, he further explains, could be blamed on the fact that parents are still skeptical if schools will effectively resume come October 5.
Most parents are still afraid with the corona issue and with the prolongation of the school year to October. Some people still believe that there will be no school because of corona.
The few parents who are out to prepare their kids for back to school have their eyes on items like shoes, books, bags, among others.
Well, parents should rest assured schools will actually begin on the 5th of October. There is nothing that has cancelled that so far. Final verdicts for the post-electoral litigations with regard to municipal elections of February 9 are still to be delivered. Hearings on appeals for petitions from different political parties for the cancellation of election in different constituencies are still going on at the Supreme Court. So, Sidonie Jokmamdi tells us.
The throwing away of majority of petitions submitted by different political parties have been accepted by the said parties. A case in point is the dismissal of files of members of the SDF who requested the annulment of election based their argument on insecurity in the northwest and southwest regions.
We have no other place to go. Their decisions are final and they put an end to the litigations. We are bound to accept the decisions.
The administrative bench of the Supreme Court this Thursday has ordered the rerun of elections of sitting mayor in the Kumba constituency as well as the rerun of elections of councillors in the Makenene constituency.
The Supreme Court has just delivered a ruling or a judgment in which it has quashed the decision of the Southwest Administrative Court and asking for a rerun of the elections in Kumba, which means that they have 30 days as per the law to go in for re-elections.
Verdicts of majority of petitions submitted by different political parties are still expected.
The headquarters agreement for the establishment of the Central African Stock Exchange has been signed in Yaoundé. External Relations Minister Bella signed for Cameroon, while the Director General of the Central African Stock Exchange market, Jean-Claude Mba, signed for the institution. Charles Ebune reports.
One by one, top officials of the financial system of the Central Africa Economic and Monetary Community enter the conference hall of the Ministry of External Relations, accompanied by diplomats from the same zone to witness the signing ceremony for the establishment of the headquarters agreement between the government of Cameroon and the Central Africa stock market.
It was necessary to unify the two markets, financial market.
The documents are penned on behalf of Cameroon by External Relations Minister Mbela and on behalf of the Central African stock market, with already 12 companies with a financial capital of 6,842,900,000 francs CFA.
We were obliged to come here today to sign this agreement, this headquarter agreement with Cameroon.
Both officials and the various delegations hailed the Central Africa Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC, for creating a unique stock exchange market for the development of the community.
The 30th edition of the International Day of the Elderly has been launched with sensitization campaigns and free COVID-19 screening tests. The launching ceremony was presided over by the Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Irene-Gene. The day comes up on the 1st of October. Cynthia Saptala has details.
Official research shows that Cameroon is yet to know population aging. However, the needs of the elderly in the development process, particularly when it concerns their health care and well-being, remains preoccupying. with this year's edition of the International Day of Older Persons centered on the pandemic. The Minister of Social Affairs, in her address, underscored the need to rethink the healthcare of seniors who are more exposed to the severity of the virus.
That is why we have taken the necessary measures to protect the personnel who work in the specialized institutions, to control visits from family and friends to those elderly persons kept there.
According to Minister Pauline Irene-Guéné, in addition to the 2012 National Policy on the Protection and Promotion of Older Persons, the government continues to sensitize the public on the need to cater for the elderly by adopting those barrier measures that keep them safe. In prelude then to October 1st, about 2,000 free rapid screening tests of COVID-19 will be given in the Centre region.
The Cameroon Radio Television Crtv has received an award for the best coverage of the 2020 Government Action Fair dubbed SAGO. The award was handed over to the Crtv today at the end of the 4-day Government Action Fair. SAGO, as we said, at the Multi-Sports Complex. Luma Slim Davis tells us more.
After 4 days of showcasing know-how, competence, finery capabilities and mastership in various domains, the Government Action Fair draws its curtains for a close.
There is some level of improvement from the standpoint of organization. The various stands are well structured, well situated. This time around, we have come to tell the public that despite the fire incident that occurred in Sonaran, the company has remained faithful to its mission of supplying petroleum products on the local and international markets.
Exhibitors and the public certainly had an enriching experience and lessons to draw.
My impressions are really positive about it because through this event, a lot of people have come to discover some of the projects that Minade have and some of the things that Minade does that they didn't know about. And this is a kind of extension, a kind of vulgarization to the population about the activities of Minade and how they can benefit from.
The event was an opportunity for public and private enterprises to be closely in touch with the public.
And that was Luma Slim Davis also giving to us a balance sheet of SAGO 2020. Let's talk about the work of Crtv and other journalists. And Bate Eya says obtaining a good report requires patience and tact. And this is why so many journalists came to SAGO to give their audience and publics accurate minute-by-minute information on happenings at the fair. Let's get details from Laurel Bate Eya.
Teamwork is the goal of journalism. From the cameramen, sound technicians, engineers, reporters, and more.
The objective of CRTV Marketing and Communication Agency is to allow CRTV to be more visible.
They run from one side of an event, struggling to meet up with the needs of their viewers.
It's difficult to produce news on time, but we thank God we can meet up.
At the SAGO 2020, the Cameroon Radio Television showcase its skills in one way or the other as they give minute-by-minute news on the web.
On Twitter, we have up-to-date information. Every discussions are going on. We put up the highlights of the messages on Twitter. On Facebook, the conferences are streamed live. On Instagram, we also have the highlights of everything that is going on SAGO 2020.
The technical team present at the site make sure the airwaves are flooded with the news pleasant to its viewers.
You have satellite links, you have TV links, you have microwaves links.
The drivers also play an important role in the good output of the life of reporters with their assistants as they are always on standby. Round the clock, About SAGO also comes up on the radio in every newscast.
Well, let's get over to the Center regional station where we hear that many young persons who were involved in a holiday workshop on the new information and communication technology have ended the training, and the training was organized by the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. Details from CRTV Center.
1,030 youngsters from 6 subdivisions of the Nyong and So division now have a clearer opinion of information and communication technologies thanks to the 5-day holiday camp initiated by the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications. The current context marked by the coronavirus pandemic has given way to the economic and technological opportunities that can benefit youths in rural areas.
Distance education now is the way to go. When I saw all those young people so happy, some of them have never seen a computer, and I'm sure that from today they can be a very important actor of a society through the master of ICTs.
During the official ceremony to mark the end of the ICT holiday program, the mayor of the Balmayo Council, Dieudonné Zangba Obele, saluted the initiative and further enjoined the trained youngsters to stand against hate speech and misinformation via ICT tools. The ceremony ended with the handing over of attestations as well as an important consignment of computer sets to help enhance ICT skills in the division.
Let's talk about agriculture now and say, in order to continue to improve on security in the rice and onion sectors in Cameroon, the Ministry of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Alamin Usman May, has signed the second phase of the Community Value Chain Development Support Project with the International Fund of Agricultural Development, IFAD. The financing agreement is estimated to cost 28.6 billion CFA francs. Gerard Nanju reports.
By appending their signatures on this document, Minister Alamin Usman May of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development and the representative of the International Fund for Agricultural Development have agreed to assist farmers in the rice and onion sectors grouped in cooperatives. Thanks to this second phase of the financing agreement of the community value chain, production will be increased, conservation, processing and marketing ensured.
Phase 1 was geared towards improving on the productivity of rice and onion, on the yield in the production of rice and onion, preservation of those products of our agricultural sector.
The project, placed under the supervision of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, targets the North, Far North, Northwest and West regions.
At the end of this second phase, we'll be able not only to curb, to reverse our import of rice, but produce such that the security in terms of food production is ensured.
This initiative is expected to help the royal population overcome poverty.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
Let's now talk about our fight against the coronavirus pandemic this evening. For the past day, CRTV's board in Sama has been consistent in its quest to know just how the different regions are carrying on with the campaign. Today, we go over to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center to once again meet Baldwin Sama to find out more about the anti-COVID fight in Cameroon. Good evening, Baldwin. What is the latest?
Good evening to you, Benin Bumagana, and welcome. The message from health professionals in Cameroon to Cameroonians this evening is that if they get to notice any change in their body temperatures, they should not at all panic. This change in body temperatures may simply be as a result of a change of environment, the change of a season equally. What they should simply do is, if they get to notice any change in their body temperatures, they should make use of the different screening centers put at the disposal of Cameroonians in the 10 different regions of the country if they have themselves screened for COVID-19, it permits them to actually know their status. They are advising Cameroonians not to rely on auto-medication if you get to discover any change in your body temperatures, because research has proven that many persons who relied on auto-medication they have lost their lives. And they have cited some examples of upcoming situations that may pave the way for many persons to notice change in their body temperature, such as the upcoming back to school for the 2020-2021 school year, and equally when sporting activities will eventually resume in Cameroon. These periods are very, very delicate, and if you notice any change in your body temperatures, you can equally dial the toll-free number 1510. You will have the necessary answers to the many worries that will be disturbing you at that point in time. And they insist that the persistent and continuous respect of the different outlined barrier measures by the government of Cameroon to limit the spread of COVID-19 in the country remains mandatory, as stipulated by the President of the Republic. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Baldwin Sama from Camer. Let's get to talk about prayer for peace. Where Muslim community in Yaoundé are praying for peace in the country. They converge at the Central Mosque in Yaoundé to raise their voices to Allah and encourage every Cameroonian to be an agent of peace. Karin Sandra Eyike reports.
Cries of supplication raised to Allah for peace in Cameroon through prayers and teaching is what makes the gathering different from the normal Friday prayers.
Today was a special prayer about worshipping the Almighty God, adding to that the importance of peace, because if there is no peace, one cannot be at ease.
For the preservation of peace in Cameroon, Muslim clerics call on the faithful to serve as a symbol of peace as prescribed by the Holy Quran.
The Imam has talked about peace, which must be preserved everywhere, asking, praying to God to give us peace here in Cameroon and abroad. It was the main message.
They are now looking forward with optimism for answered prayers.
Now let's find out where you can spend this weekend in our weekend cultural agenda. You can join Mr. Leo tonight for a beautiful soiree at the Catios nightclub in Yaoundé, while John Duchamp and other artists will be interceding for peace in the nation in a peace concert. And in Bamenda, a new movie titled Full Moon will be premiered. Joyce Tata tells us more.
Urban music artist Mr. Leo drops a new single tonight titled Time for the listening pleasure of his fans. Meanwhile, Lady Ponce, or call her La Ponce Attitude, will be live on stage at the Santa nightclub in Yaoundé this evening to thrill fans. Simultaneously, Malaya and T-Fish invite you for a winter party at Las Vegas as from 9 p.m. Make sure your relaxation shoes are on. This Saturday, join Malaya, John Duchamp and Lucky 2 for a peace concert at Van in the nation's capital, an initiative of Father Pascal Basong to pray for tranquility in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Over in Bamenda, movie lovers make it a rendezvous for the premiere of the film Full Moon, directed by Cameroon's chef Leslie and shot in the West region. It's weekend, have a fun-filled one.
There you go, your weekend is ahead of you. The management of the Sawa Hotel in Douala has extended hands of solidarity to caregivers of the Douala 2nd Military Health Region. This was during a dinner offered by the management of the Sawa Hotel to the caregivers who have not relented in their efforts in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. As Cynthia Etim reports from Crtv Littoral in Douala, it was an experience and idea-sharing moment.
The Sawa Hotel brings its kitchen expertise to the table in support of military health workers of the 2nd Military Health Region. It was a moment of conviviality and merrymaking between management of the Sawa Hotel in Douala and the health personnel. Out of their blues, the caregivers were treated to a dinner by management of the Sawa Hotel as a way of saluting their daily dedication in caring for sick civilians and other military personnel in this period of the health crisis. The gesture comes like a booster to the health personnel.
The military hospital, like every other health facilities in Cameroon and in the world, faces a lot of difficulties in the management of the pandemic. However, we have been improving on the care of COVID-19 patients. The military hospital and the Sawa Hotel are partners, and they have come to encourage us.
Sawa Hotel is a 4-star public hotel that has been in existence for 42 years now. Their services rendered to the public have been described by many as impeccable. The Sawa Hotel, outstanding in its style, remains number 1 in catering and accommodation services in the littoral region. The management intends to maintain its place on the list.
We are good neighbors with the Douala 2nd Military Health Region. Since the pandemic started making victims in the country, the Sawa Hotel has been making strides to protect its customers, workers and others who visit the hotel. This is an occasion to thank caregivers and encourage everyone to continue applying the COVID-19 barrier measures.
Despite the coronavirus pandemic that still exists in the country, the Sawa Hotel remains open to the public but recommends strict compliance with barrier measures to its customers.
From that advertorial, let's talk sports. It has been resolved that the Professional Football League in Cameroon will continue organizing the local football championship. However, the Cameroon Football Federation, Fcfa, will appoint the Secretary General and Director of Administrative and Financial Affairs. As we hear in this report by Baldwin Sama, the LFPC President, Pierre Semenge, who endorsed the decision, has seemingly retracted, saying he is not okay with the decision. Baldwin, please tell us more.
It remains the bone of contention among the resolutions of the Fcfa General Assembly, that which concerns the decision by the Court of Arbitration of Sports reinstating the Professional Football League in a full right to organize the football championship in Cameroon. As per one of the resolutions, Fcfa recognizes General Pierre Semenge as President of the Professional Football League, and the Professional Football League will organize the football championships in Cameroon. Fcfa will appoint the Secretary General and the Director of Finance. This decision is not welcomed by General Pierre Semenge, who had hitherto signed the final documents of the Executive Committee meeting a day before, who through a press release and press briefing condemned the decision, saying it is illegal as per Articles 14 and 19 of FIFA statutes and Articles 18 and 17 of Fcfa statutes, which calls for the non-interference by Fcfa in the internal affairs of the Professional Football League.
Thank you very much for watching the 7:30 news today. At 8:30 p.m. Atabadinoma will be bringing to you the news. I will be back here tomorrow Saturday at 7:30 for what is making news in Cameroon and out of the country. God bless you. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing